Hello friends, welcome to May. We are working on breath this month. We've kind of been focusing a lot on the body. We've been talking about embodiment, building heat in the body, bringing this beautiful awareness to the poses that we choose. And now, this month, we're focusing a bit on breath. A couple points that I just think is so fascinating about the breath is one, it is universally available, meaning any kind of breath practice or any kind of mindfulness practice that's rooted in the breath or an awareness of the breath is available to everyone. Like if you're alive, you're breathing. And this was understood by many ancient peoples. The word for breath and spirit or breath and energy is the same word in Sanskrit, in ancient Hebrew, and in other ancient languages. So the words for breath, air, and spirit, all the same. In different parts of the world, that's also chi. I was trying to think of the words. Prana for Sanskrit, chi is energy and breath in Chinese, ancient Chinese. Raush, I think is how it's pronounced in the ancient Hebrew. Aura is how it was explained by the Greeks and those of Gaelic origin, not Gaelic, Gallic origin. Anyway, this is all to say, like, ancient peoples understood that if you were breathing, you were alive. If you could take a deep breath, you could live deeply. There's this idea that how you breathe is like how you live. So with that in mind, know that this practice today can be surprisingly challenging, especially if you haven't done a lot of pranayama, if you haven't done a lot of breath-focused work or practice in the past. And I also want to emphasize that we're kind of stringing together a couple different movements and a lot of different breath exercises. This is by no means all of them. This is like introductory version, very, very introductory level, 2 different kinds of breath with movement, some without movement. But you can come back to your own breath at any point. So even outside of a yoga practice, if there's a moment that you want to slow down, there's a moment that you really want to intentionally enjoy, slowing the breath down is a way to help you do that. Anytime you're doing physical activity and you find your breath getting a little bit faster paced, allow your body to get faster paced, and vice versa. If you're struggling to keep up in an exercise class, focus on your breath first, and it will make it easier for your movements to get maybe faster or more on pace with whoever is leading the class or other people in a class. So though we are doing yoga-specific breath work, any breath work is beneficial. Even just being aware of your breath, that in and of itself, as a mindful practice, helps us better regulate emotions, helps us respond better, helps us behave in a way that is responsive instead of reactive. Self-control is very much tied to breath control, both in a yoga philosophy and in what we are beginning to scientifically understand about emotional regulation and the breath. This month in the newsletter, I've included tons of links to different articles and studies and even some book recommendations in the description of this video. So if you're just not as familiar with breath, with leaning into mindfulness from a breath point of view, welcome to the idea. Welcome to a couple different kinds of breath. We are going to do this seated in a chair. I will invite us to stand at one point, but know that you can be seated the whole time. Our focus is very much less so on the body in this practice and very much more so on the breath and the path of breath. So in our nose and mouth and throat and chest and belly and like the very, very bottoms of the lungs. And we will be concluding this practice with a breath that is not necessarily a yoga specific breath, the way that some of these other breath practices that we'll do like have names. But the last breath that we'll end with is one that is specific to the vagus nerve. and it helps relax the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is one of the largest nerves in the body. When it's activated or aroused, that is when we are experiencing a fight or flight, a stress response, an adrenaline rush kind of situation. And that's good. Like, we need a nerve in our body that is able to kind of stimulate us to action for our own safety. But then it's that same nerve that when relaxed, so when primed for relaxation instead of primed for action, that same nerve is what helps us rest and digest. And kind of, so the other side of the same coin of a stress cycle. So I highly recommend this last breath in particular that we'll do if you have trouble falling asleep, if you find yourself getting stressed in a situation where you can't just, box it out or go on a 15-minute run. Another way to help your body kind of move from a place of arousal, of maybe reaction, and back into a place of calm and response, mindful response, is that vagus nerve breath. I hope that made sense. I'll introduce the breaths as we go. Again, this can be challenging if it's not currently in your wheelhouse to practice this. So it's okay if you want to do a breath and then pause the video and come back sometime, or if you want to skip to the end and just start with a vagus nerve breath, a calming breath. But we'll go ahead and begin. Find a comfortable seated chair. It can be the edge of your couch, the edge of your bed. I do recommend a place where you can set your feet down and where you can sit up tall. Allow your eyes to either close or find one point on the floor a bit in front of you to focus on. And right away here, we'll begin to move with the breath. So we'll bring a visual into the breath, sunrise, sunset breaths. On the inhale, allow your palms to face upward and lift up for however long your inhales are for. And when you're ready to exhale, flip palms down. Gently drop fingers back down towards your legs, towards your knees. Moving with your own breath here, take about another 6 to 8 rounds. If you have trouble slowing the breath down, bring your eyes from your point on the floor to your fingertips, watching the rise and fall of your hands as though you're watching the rise and fall of the breath in the body. One more, just like this. Entering a gentle flow, we'll inhale again to lift arms up. Exhale and twist to the right. Feel free to bring your left hand to your right leg, your right arm to the back of your chair, or even to reach the arm out behind you. With another inhale, we'll send those right fingers up. And exhale, lean, side body stretch. Feel free to still anchor left hand against your right leg as you go. And we'll do this all again. Inhale, gently lift fingers up. Exhale to twist to the left. Inhale, left fingers reach up. Exhale, lean. Inhale, both arms reach. Exhale, twist. Inhale, right arm. Exhale, lean to the left. I invite you to continue with your own breath. So it's perfectly normal and fine if your breath moves faster or slower than mine. We'll take another round or two each side, so no rush. Eyes can still follow a moving hand, moving fingertips, or can come back to focusing at that point on the floor in front of you. finish out your own sequence. On another inhale, send arms up. And with the exhale, bring hands back down towards your legs. We'll move into some cat-cow stretches next. I'll turn to the side so you can see. With the inhale, the belly will sink forward, chest pulls forward. With the exhale, back rounds, chin tucks in. Feel free to also turn sideways on your chair if needed, if there's a back of your chair that's in the way of this movement. However, we will change the breath here, moving into a lion's breath. So we'll actually reverse. I'm realizing we'll reverse the breath. Inhale, take your cat stretch, curl in, pull the breath in. As you exhale and lean forward through the chest, stick the tongue out, squint the eyes, breathe out through your mouth. If you've ever seen a lion yawn, like just before or just after they yawn, this is why it's called lion's breath. Inhale. Exhale. Powerful exhales. Two more times. Take a breath or two to come back to a neutral spine. You are welcome to remain seated here, or if you're feeling energized, feel free to stand up. Choice is totally yours. Our next breath is a breath of joy. So we'll inhale in 3 parts, exhale in 1 part. So again, there's like this really big exhale. And traditionally on the inhale, arms move 3 different times. Typically forward, outward, upward, full exhale. In a way that resonates with you, in a way that suits the space that you're in, let your breath pick up pace. 2 more. Last one. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Feel free to take a forward fold. Again, you can do this standing or seated in your chair. We will move back into our seats. Whew. Feel free to be slow to lift the head. If you tend to be dizzy when lifting the head up, use your exhale breath as the head lifts. Take a couple breaths here. Take a couple moments here. Just let yourself breathe however you'd like, but observe what feels differently. What has shifted in the body. We haven't done very many poses. We've taken a forward fold and a couple twists, a couple side stretches. How does your body feel though? This is the power of full breaths. This is the power of intentional breaths. It can feel like a lot has shifted, like your nose has cleared, like your head has cleared. Sometimes we feel a little lighter after taking full breaths. There's no right or wrong way to practice this, and it's okay if the sensations in your body are totally different than mine or the ones that I mentioned. But I do hope that something has shifted for you, something that allows you to really feel the impact of intentional breathing. As we bring ourselves back to seated, this is where we will do that vagus nerve relaxation breath. You are always welcome to bring hands back to the body, to the chest or belly, or anywhere else where they feel intentional, where they feel rooted, hands feeling present with the rest of your practice. This relaxation breath involves inhaling in through the nose and then pausing for a moment, like we're holding our breath at the top for just a moment, and then exhaling through the mouth very slowly as though you're exhaling through a straw, or you're trying to let out as little of breath as possible. So your exhales might even be 2 or 3 or 4 times longer than your inhale. When you're ready to, inhale in deeply through the nose. Little pause. Exhale slowly through the mouth. And repeat. It may feel good to close the eyes, to sink back into your chair or space a little bit, or to bring your eyes back to that one point on the floor that you've been focusing on. Inhale, little pause, slow exhale. When you are ready to completely relax any lingering effort in the breath, let it come and go however it wishes. Feeling free to swallow, to clear the throat, to wiggle your nose. Anything that helps those nose, mouth, neck, chest, belly spaces. Relax a bit. And one more time, I invite you to notice what feels differently in your body, in your breath, in your lived present experience. If it feels authentic for you to do so, I invite you to place a hand on your chest or belly or both, and to thank your breath for its consistency, its power. Controlling the breath, or practicing control of the breath, can feel a lot like practicing agency, like practicing that self-control. If it has felt that way for you today, take a moment to also thank yourself for investing not only in your breath, but in your own sense of autonomy, choice, decision-making, power. And I hope every shift that you've experienced today is one that has felt wonderful for you. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.